J-Air is not responsible for the views and opinions expressed by its presenters or guests. J-Air presents a wide variety of views and opinions, which is to the benefit and purpose of community radio.
The right stuff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Harry and Rabbi Pesach back in the booth. Yes, I have just assumed your genders. And how have you been, Rabbi Pesach?
Hello, Harry. No, Uncle Harry. Hello, Harry. How are you?
I'm fantastic, but I asked you first.
This is very interesting.
What are you doing?
We changed the position of the video camera, the camera.
We have.
And I'm not sure if it's getting me correctly.
Yeah, you're now out of frame. No, you've got to move the other way.
I got to move the other way? Other way.
Keep moving.
Keep going.
Keep going.
How's that?
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Hang on.
Keep going. That's better. You're now in the top. Yeah, you're now in the top left-hand corner. If anyone's watching, the gentleman in the top left-hand corner is Rabbi Pesach, and the guy on the right-hand side is Harry.
Hang on.
Just in case you didn't notice it. Stop worrying about the camera. We have a radio show to do, Rabbi Pesach. Okay, go back on your perch. Now, how have you been?
I had a lovely holiday. How good are holidays? Don't you love holidays?
Well, it depends.
Don't you really enjoy going away and getting away from the drudgery of staying at home looking at your backyard because we can't get out of our homes generally?
Well, we don't have a backyard, but I understand the drudgery.
Not drudgery, really. Actually, I'm really enjoying my house. Doing up the backyard and the veggie patch and doing up the front yard. But
'cause you're always growing something.
No, thanks.
No, but you know, it's the vegetables of one kind. I know you've got grapevines.
That's right.
There.
Oh, we're training a grapevine over a new pergola is that how you say it? Pergola?
Yeah.
Pergola, whatever it is.
Probably easier to train a grapevine than it is a parrot.
How's your parrot?
Yeah, not trained.
Jacob.
The only thing Tam has managed to train him to do is sleep in, which is really frustrating at 4:30 in the morning when the lorikeets are going absolutely mental in the big banksia tree outside our bedroom.
Ah, he
sleeps through it.
Oh, he sleeps through it. He doesn't react to it.
No.
Okay.
No,
well, that's kind of good.
He sleeps in till at least 10 o'clock in the morning.
Very good.
If only he was able to collect the doll.
Did you enjoy last week?
It was absolutely lovely. Thank you very much.
You didn't come down on your bike. I expected you to come down with you and Tammy in tow on the back.
Nah, there was, Point Lonsdale. It's not an exciting ride by any stretch of the imagination.
That's right. It's mostly freeway, isn't it?
It's mostly freeway, and we worked out that we were supposed to be bringing a whole bunch of stuff to make everyone's lives easier.
Yeah.
And we got to have a bit of adventure anyway.
It was fun.
It was a lovely, lovely weekend. Like, really, that's the first weekend in I don't know how long where I've just chillaxed the whole weekend.
Is that true? Gosh. I'm not sure whether that's an awful thing to think about. As in, you relaxed and...
I did nothing.
You didn't
all
have
weekend. I didn't have to get up early for anything. I didn't make any commitments to it. It was like, I'm going to be here as of Friday evening, and I am not going to move till whenever I decide on Sunday.
That's extraordinary.
It was lovely.
And what did you think of our interfaith experience?
I think that we have a lot in common.
So
with our Christian brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
It
was just amazing. As soon as I said to them that Harry's coming down, they said, "Oh, the big tall guy that we met last year with the bike."
Yeah, and they still chose to stay and have dinner with us.
That was they were really lovely. They're from Geelong Grammar.
Yeah.
Some of there was a chaplain and the head of the girls' school.
Chaplain, head of the girls' school,
and
the
curriculum.
Head of curriculum, and great people. Their son,
Henry.
Oh my goodness, what a funny kid he is.
God bless Henry.
What a funny kid he is. and just such a bundle of energy.
Isn't it amazing when kids kind of they have no filter?
Yep.
I put on my tefillin down there, and what's that?
Yeah.
And I could see, I couldn't see, but I knew that his mother knew exactly what he was saying from a distance, and I'm sure she was giving him like dagger eyes, get over back here. But no, it was full.
But you know what? It's a fair question to ask.
Yep.
You know, if you're not used to seeing it, then why wouldn't you ask?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you inquire? You know, why wouldn't you just walk up to someone who looks like you and say, "Why are you so strange?" Speaking of strange, what are we talking about this evening, Rabbi?
We have a lot on our plate. I posted to your timeline now.
Oh, fantastic.
So if anyone wants to call up and speak to us about any topic that's happened to them over the week, whether it be something to do with their holidays or going back to school soon or something to do with COVID or the tennis, please call us on.
Or have you ever been deported from another country? Give us a call, 906-92087. That's 906-92087. If you're watching the live stream on Facebook, feel free to punch in a comment there. Although we do prefer the what's the word I'm looking for? The raw energy and interaction that we can only get from phone calls and live radio.
We would love to hear from you. If you could please give us a call. And just to let us know that you're out there, and you're even welcome to comment on our Facebook post as we're going along. Tonight, Harry, we're going to talk about something that you told me about called benevolent sexism.
Yes. Apparently, it's a thing.
It's a thing. We'll leave you all to think about that and see what you think that means, because it took me about... No, I didn't even work it out. Harry had to tell me what it means. Benevolent sexism. There's also, we're going to talk a little bit about Djokovic.
My jock's itch.
No jokes on Vic.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about getting vaccinated and why you should get vaccinated and what's the point of getting vaccinated. And is there a point of getting vaccinated?
You know what? That's a really good question.
It is. There's all sorts of questions surrounding it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what's going on at Coles and all the supermarkets around Australia. It's a strange one for me, especially after a photo I saw today. Hillary Clinton. I just see the look on Harry's face. Where on earth did Hillary Clinton come from?
Why are we going to be talking about Hillary? Like, who has died and the death can be attributable to a Clinton again? Also,
Michael Phelps in swimming. Do you know why he was in the news today, in the media today?
No.
Is it something to do with benevolent sexism? Oh, it might be.
I don't know.
That might be something to do with it.
I've spent most of the day basically under a rock in terms of current affairs.
Where have you been today?
I've spent no time listening to the radio or reading papers or whatever. I was unblocking a drain in Lower Plenty.
As you would.
At the start of my day.
And in less than 25 minutes, we're at the bottom of the hour. I like that. At the bottom of the hour.
Bottom of the hour.
We're going to be talking about what? Jesus me off! And now's the time for a thing.
Enjoy listening to J-Air? Support us and become a member by visiting our website j-air.com.au.
By the way, how's that volcano in Tonga? Did you see some of the
I saw the satellite image. Like, that was amazing.
That's massive!
It is. It's huge.
Massive!
Yep. It's climate change.
Of course, silly me. I'm so stupid. I've never thought of that.
That's climate change. Don't you know that the volcanoes, they erupt more often when the climate... No.
That was extraordinary. No. I reckon that cloud looked about half as big as Victoria.
At least.
That was massive.
It was huge. Apparently it's like the biggest volcanic eruption in... Like, it does this once every 1,000 years or something.
Wow. And it split the island in half?
I don't know if it split an island in half.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's two shots. There's the island,
right,
which has like a volcano sort of peak. And then after the eruption, there's two islands and water in between.
Oh, like when Vesuvius blew half the side off the mountain.
Is that, Mount St. Helens?
Oh, yes.
Mount St. Helens.
Yeah.
That's an extraordinary set of shots as well.
Yeah.
With half the mountain collapsing like that. So that was, I suppose we should say that What should we say to the Tongan people? That we hope you have a better day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Well, you know, I think it's actually quite surprising. There's been, two deaths attributable to it. I actually think it's quite surprising that...
That is surprising. I would have expected more.
So low, yeah, with all the tsunami warnings and all that. But obviously people managed to get out of the way soon enough. And
Yeah. There was people on boats taking a video. They were probably about 10 kilometres away, but even that, the whole sky was just grey.
Yeah, it would have been black as.
It was extraordinary.
Ash raining down on you.
Yep.
Mm.
All right, let's get started. Let's get started with the topic of the week. Benevolent.
The topic du jour.
Topic du jour. Right. Topic de night. De soir.
The soir.
What's benevolent sexism?
Benevolent sexism. So, I think in days gone by, it would have been referred to as chivalry or gentlemanly behaviour. But I was...
Being polite.
Yeah, being polite and courteous to the fairer sex. And
You've spoken about stuff like that before, like, you know, there's the husband and the wife might be at home or whatever, and you do things for your wife. You buy flowers.
That's right. You do things to make her happy from time to time because you spend most of your life doing things that just wind her up.
You don't know anything about that.
No, nothing about that at all. So I'm listening to this academic whose name now eludes, Beatrice, Bernice, I can't remember what the surname was, but she was being interviewed about how men who act in a chivalrous manner are being sexist, even though they don't realise they're being sexist. And she has coined this term, benevolent sexism. And the problem with benevolent sexism, according to this academic, is it puts women on a pedestal.
And
could you see that? Like you could see
that. Hang on, that's bad. Hang on,
that's
meant to be bad, right? That's meant to be bad.
I think so.
Yeah.
So those of us who are that little bit old-fashioned, us putting women on a pedestal is a bad thing because subconsciously, even though they might not be thinking about it, we're effectively telling them that they're not competent. So
is that what the idea is?
So by opening a door, it's not just a polite gesture, it is our way of telling a woman that she's not capable to do things.
Is that what the academic's saying?
This is what this academic is saying. And I'm just thinking to myself, if
I opened the door for my dad yesterday, is that wrong?
Well, it's ageist.
How dare I?
That's right. Is your father no longer capable of operating door furniture?
I was just being nice.
No.
Am I allowed to be nice?
No, you were telling your father subconsciously that he was no longer competent to operate a hinged contrivance.
You and I just talking in sarcasm. That's all our banter is. It's just sarcasm to and fro. That is...
Well, like we often say, I mean, we really could be doing this from either of our kitchen tables. It really wouldn't matter because nobody ever calls 906922087.
Yeah, what does everyone think about this benevolent sexism that Harry's talking about? As
a
woman,
crazy.
do you like the door being open for you? Do you like your husband bringing you flowers?
You know what? I think there's more to it than that. What this academic, what this woman was saying, and again, I just assumed her gender.
And why is woman an issue? Why can't it be? Oh, it can't be a man saying it, can it?
Well, first, if a man was to say, like, if you and I are having this conversation, say, well, we can't see anything wrong in treating the women in our lives or women that we interact with, even if it is just that fleeting single gesture of giving up your seat on a train or a bus or opening a door or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be doing that because we wouldn't be doing that for a bloke. But I think there's a deeper issue that we're not this sort of stuff doesn't address, and that is if we don't train our boys to look after our women. And I remember listening to a lecture by Ben Shapiro, and he put it really eloquently. And that being that if we don't teach our boys to be gentlemen, when a bloke does something bad to a woman, then you can't complain about that. Do you understand what I'm...
When a bloke does, you can't complain about...
So if you don't want men to look after women...
I'm having trouble with this whole issue. Because it's all...
Because basically feminists hate women.
It's all back to front. I mean, what is wrong with doing something nice for somebody?
I'm putting it out there. Feminists hate women. If you disagree with me, 90692087.
Feminists hate women.
Feminists hate women. You know, we had the most tragic example happen in... We've had two of the most tragic examples happen in Melbourne. One, Jill Maher, and two, Eurydice Dixon. Right?
What happened?
Two young women decided to walk home on their own. Yes. And came to a terrible end. Right?
They were separate incidents.
Separate incidents.
Yes.
Right?
That was the one up in near La Trobe Uni.
One up, I think, Sydney Road, and one in, was it Treasury Gardens or the gardens around the exhibition buildings.
Okay.
Wherever it was. Right? Now, people started jumping up and down.
Because
they were attacked by men. And let's just be blunt about it, attacked by bad men, at least one of whom should have actually been in prison at the time. But no one was asking the question, where were the men in their lives that should have turned around to them and said, no, I don't care how independent you think you are, you're 65 kilos wringing wet, and if a Gruyser Meshuggah comes along, you stand a snowflake's chance in hell of defending yourself.
Right.
I am going to walk you home and make sure you get there safely.
And that sounds very normal, Harry. Why doesn't that? Shouldn't that sound normal?
With no ulterior motive than just making sure my friend, whether it was Jill Maher or whether it was Eurydice Dixon, gets home safely.
Okay.
You know, I mean, look. You've got daughters,
and I've got daughters, and that's exactly where where I'm thinking now.
I've got sons.
Yep.
Right now, if our kids went out together, and I found out at any point in time that my boys left your girls to just walk home, as safe an area as we live in,
you give them a kick up the tuchus.
Kick their tuchuses from here to the middle of next week.
Right.
For the very reason that my boys can are 6 foot tall and they can handle themselves, right? Your girls are petite little things that really, if there's a Meshuggah running around, they would not stand a chance.
Yep.
Right? But now we've got academics trying to tell our boys...
That's a good point, Harry.
...not to look after anybody.
Yep.
Right? And effectively we're supposed to be bringing up a generation of animals. Because if we don't teach our boys to be the protectors, then who is going to be? Who is left? And there's no one.
It's a sad state of affairs that we live in.
And what sort of miserable, sensible, shoe-wearing person do you have to be?
Rug nibbler.
Carpet muncher.
No, you're not allowed to say that.
I don't know. It's after 9 o'clock. It's after 9 o'clock. I'm allowed to say that. Sensible shoe-wearing carpet muncher. Do you have to be to say swearing. It is wrong to put women on a pedestal?
Why do you think it's particularly lesbians?
I'm just using it as a euphemism.
It's an anti-feminist. Or is it a
No,
pro-feminist? I don't even know what it is anymore.
I'm telling you, to be a modern-day feminist, you have to hate women, you have to hate femininity, you have to hate everything about the traditional roles of women, And today, it was different back in the 60s, 70s, equal pay for equal work, whatever, the glass ceiling, yada, yada, blah, 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 right? But today it's got to the point where you have to be anti-marriage, anti-motherhood, anti-stay-at-home mum. You've got to literally poo-poo all the traditional roles that women have held throughout the millennia.
Mind you, we completely support women's rights to all their rights.
You can go and do. That's right.
As an individual,
you can go and do whatever you want to do.
But
right?
we're completely entitled to say that it's okay for women to also have the door held open for you.
Yes.
To be polite.
Yes.
And what we consider reasonable.
And the most important job they can do, the most important contribution they can make to any society, not just the one we live in here in Melbourne, Australia, is to actually raise their children to become worthwhile, productive members of the society that they are going to be leaving behind.
Excellent.
Not this whole slash and burn, tear down the system and the patriarchy and all that other garbage.
And if you have an issue, call us.
Road stuff. So what's next? I'll get off my soapbox.
No, that was good. I think you said everything quite reasonably then.
Thank you.
And that'll be a great soundbite when we split up the video.
Carpet muncher, carpet muncher, carpet muncher.
In context, it's good. But after the
sensible shoes.
After the fifth time, it's not that funny. Michael Phelps, who I think might be the greatest Olympic swimmer ever, meaning the most number of medals.
The most medals.
And he has come out today, and I don't mean that euphemistically. He has come out and said that there has to be something done about trans people, transsexuals, in sport.
Right.
Which is a topic that we discussed a couple of weeks ago, meaning that in this particular context, there is a swimmer who was male up until a year ago, and since since this
the slice and dice surgery.
I don't know if he's been sliced and diced.
Okay.
Are we allowed to say that?
Well, I know we annoy people when we use the term schmeckalectomy.
Right. If you have a problem, come up with the best. You come up with some weird ones, Harry. If you don't like the way we talk, please call us on 906-92087, or if you do, please call us anyway.
Yeah.
Or
and you can call the complaints department on 9069-2087.
So
and someone who cares will be with you never.
So this person has become a female swimmer. This male has become a female swimmer.
If I may interrupt,
and is now winning all medals.
If I may, I was going to ask if I may interrupt for one moment. Is there a case, because we keep on hearing about these boys who become girls and then win everything.
Right.
Have we got a case where, people have actually been writing to us. I'm sorry, I haven't been watching the screen. I've been too busy looking at you while we're having this conversation.
I've been looking at this and I haven't seen it.
But do we have a case of a woman who's become a man who's content to not win anything?
Oh, as in
like the other way around.
They're not. Hang on, a woman who goes into men's sport.
Yep.
And I would have to think the answer is no.
Oh, we've hit a nerve.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Go on.
With Sandra Cohen. Men have never given up a seat for me on a bus. Once I was 8 months pregnant and the young men didn't give me a seat on a packed tram. Eventually an older man did express his disgust at the young men present. I really appreciated that. And so you should, Sandra, and I'm terribly sorry I was not on that tram at the time. I would have given up my seat for you. From Daniel, feminists don't hate
I would
women.
have given up my seat for Sandra.
Of course we would have. Because that's the old school kind of guys we are. Mind you, we would have just got off the tram because you'd never want to be that close to an 8-month-old pregnant woman.
I didn't realise there were all these comments.
Yeah.
What does Daniel Pinchasov say?
Daniel Pinosov, feminists don't hate women. They hate women that make their own choice to be, so to speak, feminine, leaning towards stereotypically feminine in their socio-economic lives. That's actually
that
very
make
true.
their own choice. They hate women that make their own choice to be feminine.
Who don't, exactly.
No, I don't get it.
Okay, so, the feminists dislike women who choose to follow the traditional feminine roles, like motherhood.
They don't
be
like
the
that.
That's right.
Right.
They don't like that.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
Yes.
Yep.
I think Sandra Cohen liked the sliced and diced comment.
Good.
They roll it and fold it and roll it again, layer up and layer up and layer.
Okay. So so we don't have. You're right. I cannot think of a particular example where there has been a female who is not transferred. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Transferred.
What's the word I'm thinking of?
Switched.
Switched. We'll go with switched. Switched to becoming a male, and that's going to cause some big fuss. That
Yes,
word
because we
switched.
didn't know the exact term that they would like us to refer to
So
them
please
as.
call us up or send us a message on Facebook.
You know what? You can
with
call
what-
me
with
anything
what-
you like as
what
long as
word
it's
it
not
is.
late for dinner.
There hasn't been a female that's become a male and done well,
Mm-hmm.
or actually,
Do you think
there
there
hasn't
could be a reason
there
for
hasn't
that?
been any females that have gone into male sport
Well, we don't know.
that we know of.
Correct.
Maybe there has been, but we're not aware of it.
Correct.
And it seems that all the males that have become females are doing very well in female sports, and it's completely
And
unfair.
again,
And this is what Michael Phelps is saying.
well, of course, it's unfair because effectively it spells the end for women's sports.
Yep. It's not women's sport anymore.
No,
if
it's
you
not.
had a whole, think about that. If you had an Olympic team that was all made up of transsexual males who had become
the Australian
females.
boomers,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The boomers go get the chop. They compete in the women's competition. We
Right.
get the gold medal in basketball every 4 years.
Perfect.
Why not?
And maybe that's one way of handling the situation, because we know that didn't China about 20 or 25 years ago, they paired up the captain of the Chinese basketball team and the captain of the female Chinese basketball team, and they had a child, and that child also went on to play basketball.
Now you're talking about a government-sanctioned human breeding program.
I could be speaking out of my
I was
where
like, we were
about
only
this.
talking last night. The boys and I went out last night for bike
But
night.
it's effectively the same thing.
It is
It's
a
like
breeding program.
it's going through a
Yeah.
process in order to obtain a particular goal.
Yeah. But yeah, you talk about breeding, just if I can regale you a very simple little story. So last night I went out with the boys for bike night, and
I'm
we're
in so much trouble.
we're riding down to meet up with all these Guns and Mashuganers at the Palais Theatre. Anyway,
Bicycle riding?
motorbikes.
Ah.
So, bicycles, please. So, we're at the intersection of Inkerman and Chapel Street, and there's a couple walking their dog, a little Dachshund long-haired sausage dog
Yes,
thing, right?
yes.
So, Zach says to me, because we've all got communicators in the helmet, so we can all talk to each other. Zach says to me, I've never thought about this before, but how does a dog like that evolve? Like, what would its natural environment be? And I go, mate, it's all about breeding. Human intervention. That's the only way a dog like that survives. And
In order to succeed.
yeah, but I don't know what happened. Fortunately, maybe it was good that I was far enough away that I couldn't smell something going on. But all of a sudden, this dog just started jumping up and biting its owner's knockers. And there's the three of us on our bikes laughing our heads off at this poor bloke with this dog that stood 2 inches above the ground. But yeah, but that government sanctioned breeding programs are very different from
But it's all to achieve a goal. Like, why, if they get into the women's sport, which I think, and you probably think, they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be competing against biologically born women.
Here is the problem.
What's the problem?
We, as in people like you, myself, the average man on the street, when someone chooses to live their life as the opposite sex, we are now expected
Yep.
to accept that as some kind of universal truth. When, you know what, if for whatever reason you believe you will feel better about yourself, you believe you'll be a more complete individual by spending the rest of your days living as the other sex to that which you were born as, great. But along with that comes some certain caveats that you have to accept upon yourself, that there are still going to be things and activities you are going to be excluded from. So, as a woman who was at some point a man, you are never going to be able to fall pregnant and
Right.
give birth.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
By the same token,
Yep.
you can't compete in women's sports because you have an unfair physical advantage.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, you have to, at
You
some
can go,
point, you have
can
to
go
accept.
one way, but you can't go the other way.
You have to accept certain truths about yourself and not insist that the rest of the world buys in to your
What about a chest feeding?
psychosis.
Find us on Facebook. Just head to www.facebook.com/J Air Radio. That's 2 R's. J Air Radio.
Are you finished?
And now it's time for What
What
Cheeses
cheeses
Me
me
Off! So what cheeses you off, Rabbi Pesach?
Like you, it always has something to do with cars. You know, you had the one that I wanted to go with, which was what?
How 60 is the new 8. Yeah, 60 is the new 80 in
that
the
wasn't
right-hand lane on the Nepean Highway.
Yeah, bloody get over. Stop driving in
Stop.
the bloody right lane and move to your left. Keep left unless overtaking.
Yeah. Yeah. And just
Seriously?
Because, well, here's from a legal perspective. For any speed zone rated below 80 kilometres an hour, you're allowed to travel in whatever lane you
I
want.
didn't
right?
know that. Okay.
And it's okay if you are it's still legal to travel 20k an hour below the speed limit in the right-hand lane. It's legal, but
Sure.
it's not right.
It's not right. It's not
Just
courteous.
get out of the way.
It's not
Stop
courteous,
being
right?
so bloody selfish.
But maybe there's a female in the right-hand lane and maybe, we should leave her because, we
Or
have
maybe there
this-
was a
we're
male.
polite.
Maybe there was a male who's now a female, and
I barked up the wrong tree.
they
there.
identify 60 as 80.
Am I allowed, Harry, to drive
Maybe speed is nothing more than a social construct.
Yep.
Physics
Yeah.
is just a social
I'm
construct.
just too tired to keep up with this. It's Wednesday night after 9 o'clock. So I should be in bed.
It's past our bedtime.
Am I allowed to drive up the tuchus of this person in
No.
the freeway
No, tailgating
on
is
the
an
and
offence.
flash my lights and honk my horn
As long as it's only your
and
lights you're flashing.
scream blue bloody murder, saying, "Get the hell out of the right-hand lane on a freeway"?
Yeah, so I
What do you do? And then it can be against the law if you go around them. That's overtaking on the left.
no, it's where you have designated lanes, then that's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. There's a lot of misinformation out there in terms of road law, and now really we don't have enough time left in our lives to discuss all of it.
All right.
But like today, I was riding home from work because I took the bike out today, and there's some schwanz in the right-hand lane along the
means a
Nepean
tail,
Highway.
for those who don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Whereas the schmuck means a penis.
Yeah. You see, not only do we roll people up, we educate them. So in the right-hand lane, doing 60k an hour in the right-hand lane.
Yeah.
I got people in the centre lane, which is left to me. They're still going slow, traffic banking up. Anyway, I got the opportunity to come around and go past them. Anyway, Alfa Romeo, he had all his windows down. I'm wearing an open-face helmet on a motorbike.
What did you do?
I gave him a piece of my mind and told him to get the hell out of the right-hand
And
lane.
are you allowed to do that?
I don't know. You know what? I think these days, honestly, that could be considered
Road rage.
road rage,
But
or
is road rage illegal?
or assault? Of course, it's illegal. It's an assault
Can
charge.
you scream out the window at someone, "Get the hell over"?
I don't know. I mean,
All
firstly, I think you'd have to prove intent to cause fear or harm, and I wasn't doing that.
Ah.
I simply intended to remind him that he was going far too slow for my liking.
Okay, next on what cheeses me off is... Harry, you said this.
I cheese you off.
Why? How can you still get COVID if you've been vaccinated? A vaccination... Actually, you know what? What should this be called? It's not a vaccination. Because if it was a vaccination, we wouldn't get it.
Is it? I don't...
So what should it be called?
You know what? If there's a doctor listening at all, and I'm sure no one with that high level of university education does that, can you
No,
give us
they're
a
just too
call
scared to
on
call up.
90692087? Look, I'm sure we have not been given a placebo.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure 92 point whatever percent of us have not been given a placebo. What I'm interested in knowing now that we have this Omicron variant of the Wuhan flu running around.
Right.
Good
Good for you.
Yeah. So now we've got this variant running around, and it's going absolutely gangbusters, right? Like, this is the most popular thing since, the Apple iPod Shuffle. And all these hospitalizations that we're getting, are these people, or are the hospitalizations, because like with Delta, it was almost virtually 100% of the hospitalizations were non-vaccinated individuals.
Right.
Right.
Okay, good. Yes.
With Omicron, what are notice we're not being given any percentages of vaccinated, unvaccinated, and all that sort of stuff. So, with only 8% of the population left unvaccinated, and we've got this thing running absolutely rampant, and I know that you can get this cholera even though you've been vaccinated, because one of my kids had it. We can't call it a vaccine. I don't know whether is analgesic the term that you use. Is some sort of inoculation the thing? But if this is all designed to keep us out of the hospitals, how many of these hospitalizations? Because now we've got like over 1,000 people in hospital. Do you know? And if this keeps going on, it's going to be 2,000.
The mortality rate originally was. I mean, if we believe, let me just say, if we believe their figures, it was 0.5%. That was the original mortality rate. Now it is 0.5%
Yeah.
That's the mortality rate.
But
now. So it's definitely gone down.
I get
and the
that.
vaccination is working to a certain extent.
Yeah. But if it works, then why do we still have to worry about it? Like, seriously, why? So if I get it, let's say I get it, what difference does it make if I'm running around in the community?
So here's the question that's come up today, that the government has announced a brown, what do they call it?
A code brown.
Which is obviously... I have to think about it. Apparently it's the first
It's
code
the
brown
only
in 40
state
years.
It's the only state of emergency that comes with its own sound effect.
Did you... I never thought about that.
Code brown.
Trusting you to think about it. So
There's only one reason why you call it code brown.
So code brown means that they can a business or a company, whatever, an organisation that is of great importance can request their staff to come back from holiday, to not go on holiday, as in your leave requests have been suspended, and to work overtime and all that sort of nonsense.
And they're deploying people in all different areas, which is then having knock-on effects.
Yep.
That's always the law of unintended consequences. I can tell you the work my wife does has effectively just come to a screaming halt because so both of us, as you know, work in driver training, but Tam specialises in medical review work. So people who've had strokes, heart attacks, they've got degenerative cognitive issues, whatever it may be.
Oh, the medical teams.
The medical teams, all the occupational therapists that she works with, they've all been deployed either in different departments in the hospital or to completely different hospitals.
Necessary services.
Where they're going to be literally just changing the beds and showering patients
So,
and all that sort of stuff.
Did you read that there was a hospital worker who said that, a staff member, who said that they had COVID and they got over their COVID and then they said, I had no choice. I had to go back to work. As in, they didn't wait the prescribed 5 days or whatever it is, or 7 days or 10 days, whatever.
But there should be
They
no
have to
prescribed time.
And maybe that's a good point. They had to go back to work. And so in that abattoir the other day that they closed down and the stupid supermarkets are taking their product off the shelf, which is really just insane. It's pure insanity is leading the way. Now, I actually have no drama with the abattoir staying open. And I don't care if someone wearing a mask inside the abattoir is working. And I'm sure out of the 50 people I work around in the abattoir myself, I'm sure someone has COVID.
Has to now.
Yep. And they can't survive. The business can't survive without their people. So they get over it and they come back to work. Why do you have to wait the extra couple of days? Because...
when before, certainly not in our living memory, but when before has there ever been a time when for any sort of disease, for any sort of disease, there was a prescribed period of time you had to wait even after all symptoms had abated?
Yep.
Right, even after all symptoms have
That's right.
abated. So
you felt
now
better, you went back to work.
And here we've got people that, for whatever reason, may need to test on a regular basis because of the work they do or the and the organisations they work within. Totally asymptomatic. Oh, you got a positive test. Bang, you're out of here for 7 days. What for?
Yep.
What
100%.
for? Oh, because they can pass it on, but they're only going to be passing it on to other people who've been vaccinated. Right? The whole thing reeks.
Yep.
And we've been saying this now virtually for as long as we've been able to talk on air.
And the last, what cheeses me off, is folks out there driving around with masks hanging from your rearview mirror. Bloody take them off your rearview mirror. I mean, you will get fined for it. But regardless, how stupid do you have to be to obstruct your vision? And don't talk to me about my telephone being on the windscreen.
I was just going to ask, where is your mobile phone mounted whilst you're driving in the car?
Yeah, but all taxis and everything have them down below, whatever.
I'm not talking about taxis. I'm asking you where your phone is mounted in the car when you're driving.
It's at a point where
it's a frickin' eye level, ladies and gentlemen. I am telling you, it's a frickin' eye level.
But the masks
Do you know where my phone sits when I'm in the car?
Do you know I don't care?
If anybody does care, I'd love to have a chat with you on 90692087. It stays in my pocket.
The right
stuff. All right, we've got less than 20 minutes, Robert Pesach. We better make this quick.
Okay. How far have we come that we still cannot proudly identify as a Jew in the streets?
What do you mean?
Well, maybe Australia. We're probably okay in Australia. But in most other countries around the world, it's actually quite difficult to walk around the streets with a kippah on and your tzitzit hanging out. And that's something that I think it was Hillel Neuer he called attention to this week.
Right.
And he's right. And especially with the thing that happened in the synagogue in America. It's we are a target, and we're still a target.
We are, and it is a concern. It is a problem, and there's still it's really weird for all the equality, diversity, inclusivity rhetoric that we're subjected to these days. We are probably the only group that hasn't been brought into that fold.
Of what? Of
inclusivity, diversity, this whole love, peace, and mung beans respect for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody else is off limits except the Yidden.
Yeah. And certainly acts of violence are still being perpetrated against outwardly visible Jews in many parts of the world, and in parts where it should be. It should be like in Paris, for example. It should be completely fine, but you can't do it.
Well, I heard there's a large proportion of Parisian Jews that have bought apartments and houses or whatever in Israel just to be at the ready.
That's right.
If they have, like, there are a lot of...
There's a huge migration
our
of French
mob
Jews.
in Europe,
Yep.
whether it's France, whether it's Germany...
But even in America, you have to wear a baseball cap now when you're walking the streets.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was never one to run around the streets with a yarmulke.
Did you ever stop and think to yourself that I'm actually wearing a hat because it is something Jewish?
No.
In your in your life, you've never.
You know what? I've been wearing a hat almost every day of my life.
I know.
Since I was like 2.5, 3 years old.
It occurred to me that might be one of the reasons why you do it.
It's just what I always do.
Okay.
And,
all right.
you know, after a while, everyone just knew, that big
That's
idiot
Harry.
with the hat, that's Harry. You know, it's not, for me, it's not an observance thing. It's just I've always done it.
Well, I'm happy to say here I can pretty much walk around without, but I suppose I have to be careful which areas I'm in as well.
Yeah, you know what? I've never had a problem telling people. You know, if people ask what's your background, blah, 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 you know, well, you know, mum's side of the family's Romanian, dad's side's Russian, mum's side came out after the war, my grandmother survived, was an Auschwitz survivor, my father's grandparents had to leave because of the pogroms in Europe, you know, I have no problems in telling people that I'm a Red Sea pedestrian because I figure if they've got a problem with it, it's a them problem. If they want to make a problem out of it, I'm more than happy to oblige them.
But it's pretty
But then I'm also the size I am and I can afford to do that in most cases.
So in other words, your physical appearance is something that people wouldn't mess with. It's just a strange thing that even in this day and age, like I know an excellent young man who speaks up vociferously on media platforms and sends letters in his capacity of his work and speaks out against anti-Jewish goings-on everywhere, and may very write things like it's terrible behaviour and we're past that these days. Mate, how many times do you actually have to write that before you actually think you can only stand on your soapbox for so long.
It's also part of our upbringing that for most of us, we will cower away from it. Very few of us will ever front someone and go, yeah, I'm Jewish. You got a problem with that, mate.
Yeah.
And be prepared. And you know, as sophisticated as we are, when you're dealing with troglodytes and Neanderthals, sometimes you just have to be prepared to let your fists do the talking.
Yep.
That's, you know, dialogue only gets you so far. And when you're dealing with ingrained hatred, as soon as it rears its ugly head in front of you, you got to step in and do something about it. Otherwise,
does that mean pro-violence?
No, it's not. It should be avoided.
Pro-defense,
pro-self-defense.
Pro-self-defense, but as in taking, it's like that comic with Garfield and Odie the dog, and Odie was looking at Garfield funny, and Garfield smacks him one, and John says, "What did you do that for?" And Garfield says, "I hit him back first."
Yeah. But no, as I say, I mean, if someone's going to attack you physically, simply because you happen to be a yid, well, you got to be prepared to defend yourself.
Yep, that's
really
interesting.
And I can see no problem with that at all.
We're always looking for people with an interest in radio, either presenting your own show or being on the technical side. Become a volunteer now. Head to our website at j-air.com.au. Follow the Get Involved link and click on Become a Volunteer Now.
We have to spend at least a couple of minutes on Novak's jokes on Vic.
Okay, before we talk about Novak's My Jock's Itch, Daniel, who is obviously listening to us,
Thank you, Daniel, by the way.
vehemently,
And thank you, Sandra.
the unvaccinated population are holding us and our businesses hostage. Our government is mandating masks and density limits over these few fools among us. Well, the problem is the unvaccinated aren't holding us and our businesses hostage, Daniel. It's the government who is holding us hostage in the vain attempt to protect a minority. And what we're actually seeing is government governing for the minority and not for the majority. Because if they were, they'd be saying, you know what, 92 point however many % of you are vaccinated, geh mit Gesind, laufen dans.
And you know, the proof of that is Western Australia.
Yep.
Because in Western Australia,
They
they
got
are
3
still,
cases.
They're still locked down and their borders are closed. And it's
Well, this is the thing. The borders are shut. Like slammed
and that's not
shut.
the unvaccinated population. That's the government.
That's right. But Western Australians are free to do whatever Western Australians
Yeah.
have always done. But it is a matter
shoot
of, it's
themselves
still a
in the
matter of governing for the minority. A democratically elected government at the state and federal levels are governing for the minorities. They're not the ones holding us to ransom. It's governments making us scared for what we could be held responsible for should the people who can't be vaccinated end up getting this thing and dying.
That was all a bit much for me. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Novak's.
Yes, Novak's. What about him?
Are you happy he's gone?
Am I happy he's gone?
I'm happy he's gone. And
know
he
what?
shouldn't have come.
He
I
should
can't
have-
believe they're letting people into the country
No.
who are unvaccinated. What the hell?
What? Why should again? Why should we care when so many of us have been? We've either been vaccinated and we have protections against the most damaging effects of this, or we've been lied to. If the vaccine will do what we've all been told it will do, what does it matter if one Mashugana Serbian comes in
I agree with the government.
to play tennis for 2 weeks?
He will raise.
Well, then I don't think we can be friends anymore.
He will raise the this mindset that it's okay not to be vaccinated. If if Jokes on Vic can come and do that,
How is one bloke with an accent
because he's the centre of
smacking
attention
balls
for
around a
25
tennis
million
court?
people.
How is one bloke with an accent smacking tennis balls around
Even
a
though they all
court
hate
for
him.
2 weeks, right, going to rile up the Australian population into such a frenzy that our state and federal governments
Well,
have
he
to
did.
be concerned
He
about
did.
the level of civil unrest?
And they did.
What do you mean?
It happened. It literally happened.
There were 100 people dancing around in circles outside the Carlton Crest or whatever the Fakakta hotel he was
It
kept
was
in
the
at.
media and the government was talking, and apparently it cost a huge amount of money for it to go through the courts.
I reckon it was done to take our, and pardon the pun, to take our eye off the ball.
Oh, about
About all sorts,
yeah.
about all sorts of things.
Ah,
While we're
there's other
focusing,
stuff going
while
on.
we were focusing on Djokovic and the tennis and this and that, governments for decades
Have you got something
have
that
loved
you know
the fact-
about?
I haven't put my finger on anything just yet, but
Okay.
governments for
Can we not
decades
talk
have
about
loved the
conspiracy
fact.
theories?
I'm not talking about because I'm just saying governments for years have loved the fact that people get so engrossed in sports that they
He's
can actually
sitting
they
there
can get
agreeing.
away.
No wonder you're talking like this. You're riling him up, Dwayne.
Yeah,
Dwayne.
you just
Dwayne
made
from
it
the
up,
next.
right? You'll be able
What's-
to hear Dwayne from 10 o'clock.
What's your
this evening
program called,
from-
Dwayne?
Ital Music 84.
Ital Music 84. Is
Is it all from
is
1984?
on about 10 minutes.
It started in 84.
Started at 84.
But just by the way, Harry,
Yeah,
how good were those 2 Channel 7 newsreaders? How good was that?
that
That was not staged. That was great.
No, and you know what they
Calling him an a-hole and
But how
using
many
the
of
F
us?
word.
How
and-
many of us have had almost verbatim the same conversation?
It was so
These two just got
fantastic.
caught doing it on national television, or at least Victoria television.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, that's
They're
the
just
other
speaking their
difference.
mind.
That's it.
Speaking honestly.
That's it. And people should not be pilloried for doing so.
Yep. I thought it was amazing.
It was
It
brilliant.
was one of the best Australian television moments ever.
Yep. Oh,
have-
it will go down in the annals of history.
The only way it could have been better would be if Brian Naylor had have done it. God rest his soul. Imagine
Brian told me, Brian told me, Brian told me so.
Have we got another?
We got a groggy moment.
Oh, let's do. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's just. Do you know what?
Okay,
it's
so you know
like
what?
Pavlov's dog.
It's just come to me. You know what we're going to do?
What?
Right? You know what we're going to do?
Yeah.
Because we've got a laminated sheet that says we're not allowed to do it, basically. But what we can do is, if you weren't here right now, Rabbi Pesach,
Yeah.
if you were not in this studio, what would you be drinking? And can you give us a quick review?
Well, we had Bell's at Point Lonsdale.
We did.
And it wasn't too bad. For a $45 bottle, it's actually not too bad.
It was a bit harsh.
Okay.
It was a bit hard, even for this is coming from me, who's certainly not a whiskey
What
aficionado.
would you be drinking?
What would I be drinking?
Yeah.
No sugar Coke.
Ah, I've got one in my fridge at home, one of yours.
Fantastic.
You left it up at Point Lonsdale.
I'm thrilled for
Point
you.
Lonsdale.
Yeah, I also left my insulin pen up there as well, but I got plenty of those too.
Okay.
So-
But
but oh, what a great weekend!
Yep. Thank you.
I can certainly recommend if anybody out there ever gets the opportunity to spend the weekend with Rabbi Pesach and his family at the Point Lonsdale Guest House. Just be aware that the queen size bed in room 11 is bent like a banana. The people
We
that
didn't
run
hear
the
the end of
joint.
it.
The people that run the joint are fantastic.
You get used
the
to it, Harry,
grounds
after
are
5
lovely.
days.
Well, it was very easy to get used to because there was a spare bed in the other room, and
was
I
good,
just
was
went and
it?
slept on that.
Okay, so the spare bed in the other
the
room
spare
is
bed
perfectly
in
fine.
the other room is in the adjoining room is totally fine.
I got my car broken into this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I just want to say thank you to that person.
Because it's now cleaner.
It's now so much cleaner. And I found 3 masks that I didn't know I had.
Oh, fantastic. How do you know they were your masks, though?
Um,
Maybe they left them behind. They could be
Oh.
contaminated masks.
Oh my
Did you?
God.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
didn't think of that.
Oh,
now I've just done your head
hang on.
because you've been
So
using
now
them for the last 2 days.
You think that they're breaking into cars with masks on because it's an enclosed space. It's
Actually,
indoors.
it was something I only noticed today. I was going down. I had to go down the freeway because I started my day in Lower Plenty and then had to get to Brayside. The number of masks that have just been discarded along the freeway.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like, what's the story? People are just driving along and go, oh, I'm never using that again, and just piffing them
Yeah.
out the window.
Yeah, and getting wrapped around seal
Masks
necks or something.
Masks are just everywhere.
And Sunday night, you're organising a bikies night.
No, we've organised a cruise night. It's more. It's.
You
geared-
advertised it publicly on the bikies.
No,
Facebook group.
No, I advertised it on the what do we call it? The Melbourne Jewish Community Gearheads, Bikers, and
That's what I'm talking about.
something group. Anyway, this is more a car
So are
event.
you driving? Oh, it's a car event.
This is a car
I
event.
thought it was for bikes.
No, you can't go. How are you going
Go
to go to the
drive
drive-in
in
on a
a
motorcycle?
motorbike. I know.
When
That's
you
what I
don't
bred.
have, radio, man, radio. So this is a car event. So we're meeting up on the corner of Boundary Road and Governor Road in Brayside, which might sound like a long way away, but it means it's only going to be like a 7.5, 8 minute drive to the actual drive-in itself, and we can all go in convoy. And yeah, we'll go and see a movie.
We're going to see Spider-Man.
We're going to see Spider-Man.
on
So
Sunday night at the drive-in.
yeah.
And I think we can finish now.
I mean, if you're riding, I don't know, a Harley Davidson Ultra Classic or an Indian Roadmaster and it's got a radio fitted, well, come on down
Thanks to Daniel and Sandra for calling in.
for texting
For
us.
texting us. And my personal thought I'd like to leave you all with is that just remember that Mr. Spock was half Vulcan. Did you know that?
Yeah,
He was
his
half
father
Earth-
was Vulcan,
Vulcan.
and his
He
mother was
half-
an Earthling.
But he still counted himself as a Vulcan.
So
So-
is Earthling a social construct?
How dare you?
Good night, everybody.
Good night. The right stuff.
Well-being, sport, politics, religious discussion and great music from around the world and from within our community. We broadcast shows in English, Hebrew, Russian and Yiddish,